GM.
GM.
So we're back for another exciting session of ZK Spaces. So what did you want to do today, Carl? This is kind of like an impromptu. There's not much of a plan essentially as to what we're gonna do. So
maybe
what were you thinking?
Maybe go through the timeline, some cool calls that are going on, and Goat Network's ambassador program took off today, so we could explore that.
Sorry, what's the first one? The coal program? Or sorry, the coals?
Yes. So there's this new product on the market where it's like a lot of metrics and research, and they've released a list of top 10 for ZK, related people and, their voice and in the community. So it's quite interesting. Who's all in there.
Okay, and that's on Twitter. Yeah, can I find that on Twitter?
I sent it to you on Discord.
Okay.
Yeah, it should open up.
Gotcha. So that's Andy from the Rollup. Oh, okay, I've seen this.
Okay, that's very interesting.
We like Andy. Let's just check Andy out in general. Oh, surely we're following Andy. Andy Rollup. Huh. Surprising. The algorithm's not being my friend.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we're following him. He should have come up. This is going to be a lot of fun. We've been working behind the scenes with some of the brightest minds in the Eigen layer. Is it Eigen or Eigen? I always say Eigen, but I hear most other people say Eigen.
Oh, I've been going Eigen. Because like engine, so I'm going with that logic.
Yeah, it just reads Eigen to me, but yeah. Anyway, Eigen layer ecosystem to put together a virtual event on all things free staking. Have you been following this this virtual event that they've been doing?
No, actually I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't actually caught any of it yet, but I've seen it in the timeline. It looks pretty interesting. So I know that, I mean, they don't make it any secret that they back projects such as Eigenlayer and yeah, like various others. So they're obviously pushing the projects that they're backing, but nothing against that. So I want to try and find this tweet that you mentioned, and it was by Andy, yeah.
Yes, I sent it to you on Discord now, but I sent the wrong one initially. Yeah.
Oh, I see. That just means opening up another tab as well. I mean, okay, 1 second. That's just an extra step in between. So if I share this tab instead. Okay, here we go. Top 10 gainers in CT absolute mindshare. How on earth do they measure this?
I think you should scroll up. So it's a different kind of like tech that's come out. It's just a little bit down. I think it's the third one, and they mention the ZK. Next one. There we go. So this seems to be, the top 10 loudest voices in the community at the moment. So this is also coming from a software that's like recently got a little bit of like notoriety behind it. I personally love it. Yeah, I think a lot of people got a little bit of respect on their names. It was cool to see there. And yeah, Ismail's there.
Yeah, Ismail was in a virtual conference recently.
Yeah.
He was in panel 1, I think, benchmarking standards, I believe. And you got Brendan Farmer, of course. So Claire Cart, yeah, she's very active on Twitter, to say the least. Very entertaining, I've got to admit. Socrates. Oh, we're following Socrates. Crypto David. Oh, that's David Wong, of course. Yeah, so he was also at our virtual conference. I think he was panel 2, discussing ZK circuits versus ZK VMs, which was essentially inspired by Vinishri Rao and the now very famous debate that she sparked on Twitter. But I'm just curious, like how this tech even works. Like how do they measure? Is it like so they're tapping into like the Twitter statistics? I take it.
But it comes from it's Kaito. It's like a AI. I'll send you the link to them also on Discord. But it's just a new company. I haven't seen them much, but Andy has been using a lot of their metrics lately, and that's obviously brought quite a lot of attention to the company. But very, very interesting, to actually have some sort of live stats on all sorts of things. Like it also shows like which meme coins are great and so on and so forth, I believe.
Really interesting, actually. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to know how it works before I take it too literally. But if I were to be able to like have faith that these stats actually have some meaning.
So
But then in terms of like these being
yeah,
like top, is this just top
these
like
yeah
calls in general? Top 10 gainers
yeah
in crypto Twitter absolute mindshare. Yeah, so that makes sense. So Sasso.eth, yeah, like really big in the Ethereum space.
Anson
Ryan
is
Sean Adams, obviously
yeah.
Bankless. Yeah, Ansem, of course. Hasib,
And then
somebody.
Murad is
Yeah.
he's
So I
kind
mean,
of surprised he's at the end.
Murad. So he was like a really, really big Bitcoin proponent for like many years. I remember he went away in like 2020 or 2021 or something, or maybe it was like the end of the bull run in 21. He like went away, made this like grand return. I think it was at like the end of 22 or beginning of 2023, and he was like declaring, he was declaring that he was like firing his first bullet of his his fiat portfolio back into Bitcoin, and he had these like 20% bullets, and he was DCAing back in 20% of his fiat portfolio at a time back into Bitcoin. So that was like early 2023, and I remember the first one he like caught the absolute bottom, like was it like 15k, and and yeah, like if Murad comes back and he starts saying this, you've got to kind of take it seriously. Like that for me, that was like real.
So recently
But
he's started speaking again. He actually joined
yeah,
a Twitter space just to come in and say that Bitcoin will ultimately eat all other chains, and then he left.
oh
That was
really?
it. Yeah, just a
Hmm.
simple one-liner. He left.
He's becoming like quite famous for he's gone on to meme coins. So obviously we've
Oh,
got this
has
like
he?
yeah, really in a, like a really big way as well. He's like preaching meme coins as being the biggest thing, the biggest long term thing. He's saying like 5 of the top 10 crypto assets will be meme coins in the future, and I'm just going by
Oh,
memory, but I personally think that he's all in on meme coins currently, and he will revert back to Bitcoin. He's like riding this meme coin hype cycle that we've been in for quite surprisingly long time now. Everybody seems to just want to gamble, and they don't believe in the tech anymore. Or, or so it seems. In terms of like the retail population, anyway, whoever's left. And yeah, he's essentially saying look out for cults, like hardcore cults. He's saying that these meme coins, like they've got these cults, and it's like hardcore holders that just aren't selling their assets, or if you can call them assets, they aren't selling their meme coins, essentially. So yeah, that's his big thing. I mean, we can check him out. I'm sure.
quite clever. Yeah. You really
This other
have to be
guy,
in the know. You really have to be in the know. I'm not,
yeah,
so infrastructure's for me. But I've
yeah, he
had
was like,
more than enough fun in meme coins.
oh, really? I've never. Well, there's a couple that I kind of got involved with in a way, like in like a culty way. So I do understand it. Like I've kind of been there, done that, but it's not something that I am currently involved in or have been for a long time, and it's not something I think I ever will be again. But it is interesting how, yeah, the psychology behind like these meme coin cults. Another one I might actually have a look at Murad's profile in a second, but another person that I follow, not religiously, but like follow closely, is Hasib Karashi, and he was a former poker player, and I used to be a professional poker player. So he sort of first made his money, and he wrote a book like many years ago now called oh my goodness, what was it called? It was like How to Be a Poker Player or something like that. I'm pretty sure that was the title, but it wasn't teaching you how to be a poker player. It was talking all about the psychology behind it, and he went so deep into things that just way too deep, things that you wouldn't associate with poker. Like he was talking about life, how life has evolved, how humans have evolved, and he basically all of this stuff, like all of his worldview, all of his like world understanding, contributed to his overall understanding of psychology and human psychology, and that's a big part of poker. So
Mm.
a lot of
It's
people
a very
try to
good
play
point.
poker.
Yeah.
A lot of people try to play poker like a computer would play poker, whereas and they call it kind of like the game theory optimal side of poker. And then a lot of people kind of play on emotions, and they'll just hold their cards tightly, and you can exploit that. So there's also this whole like exploitative side of poker. Or if they're too loose, you can tighten up, and you've got to kind of have this like base level understanding of the game. But Haseeb was just like a master, and still is a master of human psychology, and very, very, very smart guy, incredibly smart guy. I've got a lot of respect for Haseeb. Let's have a look at Murad and his preaching of meme coins. We don't follow
It's even
Murad.
got like, yeah.
I remember like
meme coin.
I actually, on my personal crypto account, I actually remember like when he was like maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 months into this meme coin hype, I wrote a comment underneath saying, I never thought the day would come when I would consider stopping following you. and actually I did, because my timeline was just filled with Murad preaching meme coins. This is one of the big ones, Popcat. So yeah, he's been preaching this for so long now. But yeah, he's going on like interviews. He's going on TV. He's here he is, just talking about sound money versus meme coins. Let's just listen to this beginning part of
now
this.
What you're seeing,
Can you hear this?
There's like 50 to 100 people that essentially went from being poor to being millionaires, and now they've quit their jobs and become full-time evangelists and growth hackers for Tao. You see how powerful that is, right? And essentially, it's all about community. And so you have to the first step you need to do is you need to take those millions of meme coins and identify cults. Like I said, in my personal opinion, there's like 25 of them right now. So you need to identify these cults. How do I identify cults? It's very simple. First things first.
Web3 offers a brand new petri dish
for jobs.
Yeah,
he cuts it right at clever.
That's kind of like that's Murad's current focus in a nutshell, right there. Oh, here's another one. Are you interested in this? Should we listen to this?
Yeah, why not? We can move on after.
The best products in crypto don't require a token, but the best tokens in crypto don't require a product. So if you look at so here's the thing, right? If you look at Pump Fun, Polymarket, Phantom, like the actual products that actually a lot of users use, they don't have a token. They don't need one, right? And if you look at the best performers token wise, such as Pepe with Popcat, Giga, since the beginning of the year, they don't have a product. See, so which means that the software is a whole thing, and the tokens is a whole nother thing, right? So retail is finally coming to the idea that all of the tokens, regardless whether there's tech mumbo jumbo or is just a dog picture, all of the tokens are just tables at a grand casino. And so we're asking ourselves, right? Or I should rather say the trenches are asking themselves, why should we bid up your casino tables that are already $10 billion if we can run the whole journey from start, liquid from day one, organic from day one, actually build a community, actually allow poor people to get rich, middle class to become upper middle class. That's how you build cults, by the way. We can get into that later. But essentially, what meme coins are doing is they're recreating the ICO wave of 2016 and 2017. See, it doesn't matter if there's a GitHubs or not.
Right.
What matters is human motivation. You need to look at the Maslow's pyramid. This is
very
Maslow's pyramid. Have you ever heard of something like that? Maslow's pyramid?
Yeah.
Pyramid?
Yeah, Abraham Maslow, he was like a famous again psychologist, and he created this hierarchy of needs, and let me try to remember what the needs were. So like the basic ones were like obviously like the shelter, food, the basic human needs, and then it was kind of like the sexual desire, and then it was like the social desires that we have, and it moved. I think there were like 5 or 6 levels to this pyramid, and the top one was, if I remember, it was called self-actualization, and that kind of talked about. I mean, this. Oh my goodness! Like when I studied this is going back nearly 20 years now, which is absurd to think about. But wow. But yeah, so essentially the top one was all about self-realization or self-actualization, I think the term was, and it's about kind of like, I guess, finding your calling in life and being completely aligned. There's no conflict in your mind. You're completely aligned with your, whether it's like political or in all aspects. You just find this state of self-actualization, and he says that's like the highest human need. That's what we're all kind of. But anyway, so that was Abraham Maslow. Wow.
Wow.
I don't quite know why Murad is quoting him here. Maybe it must be relevant in some way, but I didn't quite catch how. But
I think that's
as
to
you
do with like the cults and how to establish things. But I don't know. He may. I don't want to agree with him just because meme coins. I feel like that value could be so much. It could be used so much better with teams and companies. But I guess each to their own. And looking at Scroll and ZK Syncs tokens and the chaos that's like ensued from there, maybe it is better if infrastructure doesn't have tokens because it doesn't seem like it pleases anybody.
No, he makes very, very good points. If you're here purely for the money, so if you're here purely for the money, I think the overall point he's making is like the types of tokens that you just named are very much like VC backed. You're essentially you're playing their game. They're the casino. They're the early investors. You're giving them your money. They manage to get out at a profit, and this is just like happening again and again and again. So this is what's happening with these big tokens. There's an allocation to VCs, to the team, to the founders, whatever, and you're just filling their pockets. And that's what the space has almost become to some degree in the mind of a lot of people. But you have to also you also have to remember that there's this other subset of people who are here for more than just the money. We all need money. We all need to make some money. There's a limit to how much happiness it brings, how much how many resources you need, everything like that. So personally, I need to be completely aligned with what I'm doing too. It's not just about the money. I'd rather be poor and fulfilled than rich and miserable, which is yeah, essentially that's the message. So he makes a very good point that if you are here just to make money, there probably is a lot of potential in meme coin investing if you can identify these hardcore cults that just aren't selling. The ones that are established. They've got like hordes of people behind them, pushing them, that kind of like believe in them. They don't seem to be going anywhere, and that's what he's saying. And he's saying you've got more chance of making money with these or establishing something like this. Catching something like this early, if you can identify the right thing. Obviously, there's probably 1,000 scams to every one legit meme project out there.
I know that's sorry. I know you like 1,000 to 1, but I really do think that is the actual statistic at the moment on Pump.fun. It could even be worse, but most of them are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was, if the statistic was even higher than that. As far as I know, there's meme coins being established like every day, and they rug the same day, over and over again. So I saw a video on this once. I saw somebody he was talking anonymously, and he was talking about how he does it, and yeah, it's just like you're just playing other people's games. You're just filling their pockets, and you're essentially in a casino that's rigged against you. So it's like being in a casino. But you could argue that with all crypto speculative investing, you could argue that's the case. If you're here, if you're planning to, do you remember in our last conversation I told you that I believe we're going through a massive transition of ultimately all fiat currencies moving into cryptocurrencies. And
Yes.
I genuinely believe that. And if you can find the right ones, I mean, Bitcoin clearly isn't going anywhere. This is here to stay forever. Besides some kind of major catastrophe that wipes it out, and there's various others. So this is where I'm at. It's kind of like I hold these things because I believe in its future potential. I'm not trying to make a quick buck. Murad's talking about the people who are trying to make, who are trying to invest in something, run the cycle, sell, make a 10x, 5x, sell somewhere pico, and this probably 99.999% of people fall into this bracket. I expect very few people are just thinking in terms of I'm here to hold my fiat currency in cryptocurrencies long term because I believe in this wealth transition. This transition from fiat to cryptocurrencies. So I imagine that person's pretty rare. I don't hear too many people these days talking about it in those terms. You're that man.
I put money in, and I see it rise, and I think it's going to do even better. And I never take the money out, and then I'm at the bottom, and then I'm like, well, it's worth nothing. Might as well keep it. And then yeah,
hmm
oh my god,
Oh no, yeah,
oh my God.
we've all been there. That was my I think that was my 2017 to 2021 experience, 2022 experience maybe. But yeah, I'm
That was even shame.
fully,
Because that was the
fully
ride
with
of
you.
your life there.
But yeah, I mean, this is before I really like got educated with it. So I didn't take like a solid interest in crypto, and I didn't have like the what I would call like aha moments or epiphanies or whatever like about the space until like I think it was like late 2019 or somewhere in like 2020, and I really started to take it seriously and like study it and realize like there's a lot more to this. Like that's an understatement. There's a huge amount more to this, and yeah, just talking about in terms of like the wealth transfer from fiat to with fiat currencies are just being ever inflated. We're seeing the biggest wealth transition in the history of mankind. Like that's all I'll say, and that's from fiat currencies to cryptocurrencies. But anyway, should we move on from Murad?
Yeah. It's good
Maybe
to
I
see
could scroll.
what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just see if we can find anything interesting. Historically, when we've done this and we've scrolled through, we haven't really found much that piques our interest or pucks. Now that we're all hyped about stables, is it time for stablecoin meta pump.fun? Okay, I don't even know why I'm reading that.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what it entirely means there.
Yeah, he sometimes has some interesting things to say, that chap, but that's not one of them, in my opinion. Quantic, we like Quantic. People have been asking me in my DMs why I'm so excited about stake.link, so let me be clear. This will be the first LST with native CCIP integration on Metis. That's the Chainlink interoperability standards, right? I think CCIP. It will
This is
naturally
incredible. Liquid
Yeah,
staking
it will-
changes the game for all chains. So that's huge. That's huge.
Gotcha. It will naturally become one of the default channels to bring more liquidity to our ecosystem. I see something on stake.link's site that I'm really looking forward to. Interesting.
This is interesting. Have you seen this phone? Sorry, do you mind scrolling up? This is a Ethereum phone. So Solana made hardware, and I saw this came up, and even Tali from Solana was, it's like, this is very brave to do any sort of hardware. Have you seen this phone at all?
I haven't. I mean, I've heard Solana were developing a phone. I think I've like.
No, this is Ethereum's phone.
Oh, this is Ethereum's phone. Oh, I see.
Yeah, Solana's phone is like, it's been out for a while. I think the second editions are already out, if I'm not mistaken, or they've been pre-ordered already for like over a year. But yeah, this is the ETH phone. It's kind of interesting. It seems it's 0.3 ETH, I think, to buy it. I might be wrong, but around about there. It's like a Nintendo thing. I haven't seen it on there.
Who's made this then?
So this is the company, yeah, and then they backed by quite some like big boys. The phone, I don't know. Seems, I don't know if there's not much to go on. I was trying to find out some more info on them, but I think I could really see.
Introducing.
But this was big for this was big for like when Sol did it. It was a little bit unsuccessful to be a bit honest, but I'm sure this team will learn from that.
Well, you know how I feel about Solana, so I don't generally follow what they do based on some. That could change. My views on Solana could change, but currently I don't follow them too closely at all. Solana's record TVL and DEX volume surge. Interesting. Do you believe in these like the way that the cycles generally have gone in the past? You've kind of got like Bitcoin pumping for an extended period of time, then it moves into like Ethereum and other like blue chip alts, and then it gradually. But this time we've kind of like we've had this hard movement into meme coins, like much earlier than most people I think were expecting.
It seems like people are very prepared to explore new options, and they're completely comfortable with like even if there's no tech. But when there is tech, it seems to do very well. I think meme coins and created this culture of taking the risk and trying new things. And looking at Metis now with what's going on with them and their charts, I think it's maybe for the best. But in terms of like how the flow moves, I think it used to be a little bit more predictable than it is now. Now it seems very willy-nilly.
Mr. Vitalik, bullish on Quark ID, bullish on all ZK Sync L2s. We should listen to Vitalik really, out of respect. But yeah, I just want to find something we can like really dig into. Like really, some kind of article that we can explore or something. This all seems to be quite fluffy and superficial kind of stuff. Is there anything else? What else did you mention at the beginning of the talk? Was there anything else in particular?
So it was that, and then Goat Network is doing their ambassador program. So it's them.
Network. Let's take a look.
Ismail's response to him being third is my absolute favorite. It's like this man just having the time of his life on a podium, and then it like zooms out and he's third place. It's just the humor is amazing.
What's he said?
Oh, it's just a meme of this man drinking champagne and like kissing his partner. It's just very funny. And he comes in third place. It's just really celebrating much harder than the rest of them.
Yeah, Ismail's a great guy. He was one of my favorites at the virtual conference for sure. Just seems like a great character. So
very interesting points. Yeah.
We'll be inviting Ismail back for sure. What did you say, the ambassador program? So should we take a look at, let me just find the Goat Network website a minute. Let's just take a look at Goat Network in general. Goat.network.
That's nice. Goat.network. Yeah. I quite enjoyed their website. I think it's stunning.
It is. It's been done very well. The first Bitcoin L2 to offer sustainable Bitcoin yield. Challenges for scaling Bitcoin. Bitcoin holders have serious concerns when their Bitcoin moves to another chain. The security of bridges and Bitcoin Layer 2 needs to be addressed, given the limited functionalities of Bitcoin scripts. Sustainable yield. Bitcoin traditionally serves as a store of value, offering fewer opportunities for yield generation compared to other cryptocurrencies, like Ethereum or stablecoins. This limited utility in DeFi applications has resulted in lower returns for Bitcoin holders. So essentially, Goat Network offer like a model for generating Bitcoin yield. Do you know how that works? Should we take a look? We've discussed it before, I think, on stream, but I'm by no means an expert on Goat Network. So decentralized sequencers create an open market to earn sustainable sequencer revenue in Bitcoin and Goat tokens. Sequencer revenue can be...
Is the Goat token out already? Is there any metrics on it? Or is it...
No, I don't believe it's been released. So I think they're just about to go into like a phase of developer testnet. So developers can like test their apps on the Goat Network, essentially, I believe. But yeah, I haven't, to be honest, I haven't been following too closely, haven't had the time. But we'll definitely take more looks at Goat Network in the coming couple of months. It's a really interesting looking project. Bitcoin holders can lock Bitcoin on L1 to mint Goat Bitcoin on Goat Bitcoin L2. Goat Bitcoin can be used for yield generation. Goat token lockers earn additional Goat. Okay, more ways to generate sustainable yield via DeFi, CeFi, and TradFi on the way. Interesting. So what was the...
they look like they're in their testnets on their roadmap now. There's in October. Oh, okay. So it'll be any day now.
It's coming into testnet, and then mainnet is due to launch next month. And to answer your question, the Goat token looks like it's coming at the beginning of 2025. Well, it doesn't say beginning actually. Sometime in 2025. 2025 and beyond. Universal L2 connecting Ethereum, Cosmos, Ton, Move, VM, and more. So yeah, I think that's how Goat Network like initially began. So this is what I know a little bit more about. It's like the entangled rollup design. And I believe that Goat Network ultimately wants to become, whether it's a universal L2 or whether it's like a network of L2s on these various chains, I think that's more of an accurate way to, so like a network of connected L2s, enabling, you know, like all earning yield. I guess that's the way it will work, you know, similar to how it's working with the first one, which is the Bitcoin L2. I believe that these other L2s will probably, well, you assume logically that they'll enable the same kind of things, native yield on each of these different chains. Ultimately, you know, that's one day. I don't think we're anywhere close to that yet, but you know, I think the focus currently is on Bitcoin and opening up this sustainable yield model to Bitcoin holders. So let's take a look at the ambassador program. Let's go back to the. Why are we back on Andy? Did I click on the wrong thing? Okay, there we go. Goat Network, welcome to the Goat Herd. Interesting. Goat Network Ambassador Program. Unlock your greatness. Calling all content creators, community leaders, influencers, and anyone looking to level up in the blockchain world. The Goat Network Ambassador Program is live, and we're looking for the best and brightest to join our family. Rewards: earn USDT for creating content, engaging on Telegram, supporting the official Goat Network X account with comments, reposts, and likes. So you can actually earn some actual USDT from doing this. How to apply: submit at least 3 pieces of content about Goat Network. Deadline October 29th, 2024. Fill out the form to apply. So yeah, anybody who wants to apply. Essentially, I think the quickest way to get here is to go on the Goat Network Twitter, find this article, which is like, you know, the second or third piece of content down. Oh, and yeah, find the link, fill out the form, create some content, or maybe create content first. No, this order might be applicable. Create some content, and then you can apply. And if your content's good and accepted. In terms of content creation, we were discussing recently about like the use of LLMs.
So happy. Yes, I'm so happy you brought this up.
So this is like a big topic for me lately. So I'm seeing lots and lots and lots of content being created with LLMs, and I'm a big proponent of LLMs. Like I think they're fantastic. They boost my productivity by 10x at least. But we're coming to this point, in my opinion, or my general observations, where people are more often than not using LLMs to do the work for them, or to do like, you know, a huge aspect of the work for them, and it's becoming pretty transparent and clear to people. You know, the more people are catching on to this essentially. And I told you about when I went to ZK Syncs. I think it's on their GitHub or their website or something, or their blog, and they had something called the ZK Manifesto, and I was excited for like quite a while to read this document. I thought because it's ZK, this is going back quite a while now, but I thought because it's ZK Sync and all the resources that they have, you know, all the financial backing, the kind of like experts they have on their team, I essentially thought this ZK Manifesto was going to be something I could really dig into and learn from, you know. And I started to read, and I was like, like I've spent thousands and thousands of hours with ChatGPT, like endless hours. I know how it writes. I know how it, you know, and I'm just like reading this thing, and it's like, oh no, like this isn't.
I feel like
this
I
isn't
might
original.
I might even know the piece. It's a while back, like in the beginning of the company, like a year or two.
Maybe I don't know the exact date, but when I was looking this up, I'm going back like 7 or 8 months, I expect.
Yeah. Wow. I do think like we need to make a concerted effort to show personality. I think the world is really opened up. You know, we have, you know, like me, you know, anime photos as a profile photo, you know, and AI can just produce so many things, but to keep the essence of who you are as an individual and the message and what you would like to share at the forefront, and the information should be, you know, a complement. And AI just has information with no personality, and that's not really what I believe is correct marketing. I don't think people really want to go to, you know, like going to a website and reading your about us. people don't want to have that experience while scrolling on the timeline. Pretty much never, to be honest. It needs to have some sort of like humans involved with it, and looking at what's a good idea, what's a bad idea, and bring like something more promising forward.
Well, yeah, you make some good points, but there's also the fact of if you're reading an article with the intention or the goal of becoming better informed, you want to find something new and original that from experts. Otherwise you could just go on ChatGPT and do you could prompt ChatGPT and find out the same info. So I don't really want to be reading articles that are meant to be educating me. I think if it's like, say it's like I don't know, just like a general summary of like a conference that happened, or just various things like that, then ChatGPT's fine. It's just, or maybe not. Maybe with some editing or whatever, then it's kind of fine. It's like you're still getting the same. You're still learning about what happened at the conference. But if you're trying to learn, just like generally about ZK, for example, you want to be learning from the experts. You don't want to be. I can play around with ChatGPT. I don't need to go to ZK Sync's website or blog to learn what ChatGPT thinks about things. So I can just do it myself. I've got the program, so it's like that's pretty much the point I'm making. So it's got its place, it's got its uses, and like even if you are creating like educational content, I mean, I do think it still needs to be coming from you. ChatGPT can help to like optimize the wording and the layout and the grammar, all this like superficial kind of stuff. But in terms of the meat of it, the actual insights, the understanding, the expert knowledge, you want that to be coming from the writer themselves. Otherwise, it's just fluff, just more fluff, and we've got enough fluff already. So,
personally, like there's too many tools at the moment that can check for like that are very well trained in AI detection. So to write articles and to use AI, and if you're working for somebody, I think it can be a risk. It's nice for like documents and things, but for final, like internal documents, it's cool. But yeah, there's too much detection, and if it's really off-putting. I'm pretty sure I even remember the article you're busy speaking about, because I have been really let down. I can't remember which company it was, but it was a big company, and it was a short article. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. Yeah. I hope their ambassador program goes well, and people don't do it as much.
ZK Sync. We're going back to Goat Network.
Goat Network. Yeah, I hope they find like good people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's the challenge at the moment in the space. It is finding good people, because there seems to be like a lot of, like I said, fluff, a lot of like fluffy work being produced. But in terms of finding actual competent staff, that seems to be a big challenge these days, for sure. So, this is notifications. I was going to go back to the timeline. The Risk Zero community is growing. Bullish, 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 bullish. So Jacob Everly is bullish, if anybody didn't know already. Fed's intern. Is it Fed or Fedi? How do you pronounce that?
I think Fedi. Fedi's?
Fedi. Satoshi was a visionary that created an industry full of opportunists. You can't argue with that. Very basic take. Charles
This
Hodgkinson.
man, this guy, so this is the CEO of Cardano, and he is taking enormous heat at the moment. He
at the moment,
in one of his recent...
This is multi-year. This has been going on for years. But yeah, what happened recently?
He was saying that Cardano will ultimately take over Bitcoin's place. I think that's maybe that's a stretch. I think they're worth like 0.3. Yeah.
$1 trillion cryptocurrency market. In fact, the next $5 to $10 trillion of growth of our industry is going to live inside the regime of private smart contracts and selective disclosure. $1 trillion cryptocurrency market.
It doesn't tell us a lot. So
no.
if Charles is right, Aleph Zero is positioned nicely to capitalize on that market share. Aleph Zero, yeah, they're like a privacy-focused L1, building infrastructure for the next generation of confidential zero-knowledge Web3 apps. We actually have a podcast with the Aleph Zero co-founders. I believe there's 3 co-founders, but we have 2 of them. I think it's Adam and Anthony, and they will be coming. Oh, sorry, they've been on the podcast. We've recorded the episode. It will be coming out, I believe, on Thursday. And yeah, they're very smart guys, very serious guys. But I think that's a good thing in the space. I think we need more, heavily serious people who aren't, yeah, like again, spreading fluff. Like they've got a lot of very interesting and deep things to say, and they've got a clear vision for Aleph Zero, and I'm pretty excited to see where that project's going. On the other hand, Charles Hodgkinson and Ada or Cardano, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's 2020 news.
I've released things and tokens on that chain, and it's a nightmare. It's very hard to be a dev over there. Yeah.
Interesting. So many government agencies exist that even the government doesn't know how many there are. Okay. Do you find that your timeline is like filled with Elon Musk content lately? Even like House, like I don't think we even follow Elon Musk with House of ZK. Oh, we do. Okay, I'll take it back. Whether we should or not, I don't know.
Sometimes it's nice, like I think my phone's very crypto Twitter. So every time it's kind of nice to see Donald Trump working at McDonald's from time to time. It's a little bit of fresh air.
It's all publicity stunts. You would hope that the next president of the United States would have more serious things to focus on rather than these cheap digs at Kamala Harris and publicity stunts. But whatever, it's all a bit of a show, isn't it? The whole thing.
I prefer it to like a lot of countries go with aggression. So I guess they've already done the aggression. Wow, they really have. It's been a long election. I feel like an American. I've been following it so long.
This company, the Telos Foundation, so I believe that they're working on optimizations for Plunky 2, which DKM use. So something called I mean, I'm not technical in any way. No, not going to pretend to be, but there's something called Goldilocks and Baby Bear, or whatever. And the Telos Foundation have created something called Goldie Bear, but it's not open source yet. I believe I'm actually talking to. I can't think what position he's in, but anyway, he's fairly high up at the Telos Foundation, and so we're talking about verifying. The GitHub and taking a look at the code so that we can start to co-promote with Telos, and be very interesting to see what they've managed to do with optimizing the Plunky 2. But yeah, that wouldn't be for me. That would be for one of our researchers or developers. We'll be working with them.
I was busy looking back at like some of my old work for Plunk. I realized I should really do a bit more of a deeper dive into how the registers and things like that work on Plunk 2. But every company kind of has their own spin, so it is kind of hard to see what everybody is doing, because it does take a lot of time to understand their little universes, in such depth.
Absolutely. So I think probably going to end it pretty soon. So maybe we can end it with this Michael Saylor video, because how much of Michael Saylor have you listened to in the past?
Not even once.
If any.
Not even. I've seen him a lot and I know who he is, but I've never actually come across one of his videos.
So I used to listen to podcasts with him in. Like I would consider him to be like the ultimate Bitcoin proponent. But I think many people just kind of think he's just this massive Bitcoin bull who, has a lot of money and whatever. But you actually listen to his thought process, and oh my God, the guy is an absolute genius. Like he really is. Let's just listen to this. I don't know what this is about. So
if there is more Bitcoins held with these third-party custodians, what risk does that pose, having greater supply held by fewer large institutions? Does that increase the risk of seizure and confiscation like we've seen with gold? And is that not exactly what Bitcoiners don't want to happen?
No, I think it's the opposite. I think that when the Bitcoin is held by a bunch of crypto anarchists who aren't regulated entities, who don't acknowledge government or don't acknowledge taxes or don't acknowledge reporting requirements, that increases the risk of seizure. You have an OG crypto community that's very hardcore about it, but if you look at where all the money is, 99.9% of the money is actually in the traditional economy.
If you consider the Great Depression, I mean, people thought that their gold was safe in banks until the Executive Order of 1933. So we're not entirely safe. I mean, I know that's kind of a wild thing to suggest may happen again, but history does repeat itself. So people's Bitcoin wouldn't be entirely safe. It's
people say that, but mostly it's paranoid crypto anarchists that say that. Okay, because it's a myth and a trope that goes on over and over again. But first of all, he didn't really seize the gold. People voluntarily turned in the gold. They didn't go and kick in everybody's door, arrest them, shoot them, and take their gold. That never happened. Is the United States on the Bitcoin standard?
Maybe we will be soon.
But the point really is we're not. Right? It's totally not a reasonable comparison. You know, people have these inflammatory, tropes or.
Okay, I'm going to end this only because it's like so heavily edited that it doesn't even seem to be particularly coherent. Usually I listen to this guy and yeah, like I say, absolute genius. But this is kind of it almost seems like it's cut out a few things.
Do you see what I'm doing?
Yeah,
do you mind scrolling up? Sorry, just for
Yes.
1 second. Do you see the scroll
worries.
meme that's here? This is maybe Murad is kind of right. People should not be doing tokens because this is what happens. They were so respected. I love Scroll so much. I feel so bad for them and the heat they're taking at the moment.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You say maybe people shouldn't do tokens, but what would their incentive be? But let's just be completely honest. That's what's driving the founders of these projects, the dev teams working on them. They're incentivized by potential profits, and whether there's like a dualistic, or sorry, whether that they also harness some kind of overall belief in the space and the tech they're building, that may exist too. But ultimately, I think like profit is the biggest driver of the space by an absolute country mile. And if these people didn't have tokens to release, then what would drive them? I don't think the project wouldn't exist in the first place. So, what kind of heat has Scroll been taking? Because I haven't been following.
So their airdrop is like linear distribution. So the problem is it's going to be going to quotes the community, but they also are part of that. So they're taking like a huge chunk of the money that should be going to people that have been, creating content and doing things for them. So I'm not sure. I did see Haichin release something recently with Sandy, but I'm not too sure what the resolution was. But they are addressing it or plan to address it because the Teen tokens being in the community, I think it was like 30-something%. It was quite large. So I'm not sure really what's happened since then, but sentiment is remaining.
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be the recurring theme with airdrops these days. It's almost like they're losing their meaning, they're losing their appeal because you have these big projects who overhype, and I'm very much against this. I absolutely hate the overhype culture in crypto, in the blockchain space. I think it's very, very damaging to hype something to the point where everybody's excited, everybody believes what you're saying, and then suddenly, what you're releasing, the thing that you've been hyping up, doesn't even come close to matching the promises you've been making, essentially, or at least the impressions you've been giving And then, of course, there's going to be massive disappointment. There's a massive disparity between the reality you've been creating in people's minds and the actual reality itself once it hits. So I don't see how people can expect any different.
If you remove the, sorry, you need to go, but just to wrap this up, like, so if the team is making money through the token, and you don't hype it, is that the way forward then, just to take a small amount of money because you're not hyping it, and rather, don't make promises you can't keep? So is this the way forward at the moment? Like, the narrative that companies should be doing is not to make big promises, to take a smaller percentage of money and maybe hold it more long term in the company?
Like, I think we've lost sight of like what we're here for as a space, as a whole. We have these products, like each of us have these projects, or we work for these projects who have a product. Now, the product should be the central focus. That should be the thing that you're pushing. But most of these projects these days, or maybe it's always been the case, but I'm certainly more aware of it these days, they seem to be far more focused on things that aren't the product. So it's like they, whether it's an airdrop or a campaign or a this or a that, it's like everything's just so far removed from the actual reason that project even exists at its core. You don't see that in so much like the Web 2 world or in like the business world. Let's just like take Tesla as an example, who don't even market. They just have this insanely incredible, amazing KOL or Cole called Elon Musk, and he goes around talking, and he's very, very extremely pragmatic. He doesn't promise people things. He doesn't say, we have this rewards campaign, we have this, he just creates incredible products. He's innovating. He's a real engineer, and he has an incredible team. And they're creating products that sell themselves. And they have this like proponent who just has this incredible worldview, this incredible understanding of the world and life in general. And people take to that. People are attracted to that. And you have this guy building products, and that's just one example. But what I'm trying to say, I think, is just that the product should be good and it should sell itself. You shouldn't be having to create false marketing and false narratives and false hype around tokens and airdrops and things like that to get people interested in your project. It should be the product selling itself. And if your product isn't that good, go and do something else. Don't pretend that you're doing something better than you are, because that's just unethical. And for me, that's not the way to market. But anyway,
that's the shame. I didn't feel like Scroll was making. I didn't see much of what they did just before they took their token, and there's just the airdrop. So that is a bit of a gap. But they really were quite quiet. Their devs did everything. They educated people very well. Hachin and Sandy and them, they're very down to earth, casual people. So goodness, I think they just maybe messed up the airdrop a little bit, but I hope they fix it, and the team doesn't take the community tokens. I think that's a good way forward. I'm sure there should be enough for them.
You can have this fantastic project with a great product and great founders and great this, great that, but if your marketing team is just overhyping things and promoting the wrong things, and that's why communities are here. Like communities are here because they're incentivized. They want something from it. They're not just here because they love you or because whatever. They're here because they want something. So if you don't give it to them, if you're promising them something big and you don't give it to them, of course you're going to get this massive backlash. And that's what we're seeing again and again with these airdrop movements. And unfortunately, that's the culture. It seems to be dying out a bit. I see less about airdrops these days, but yeah, this Scroll stuff looks pretty fresh. Introducing airdrop. What's the date on this? October 21st. So that's yesterday.
The information on the information on the distribution was out before that. I think it came out. I started seeing it on I believe the 20th. So it must have been some insiders did their due diligence and found out, because it could have went completely underneath the radar. I think it could have even been worse then. At least they have an opportunity now to get ahead of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we'll leave it there, Mr. Kyle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
until next time, I have a couple of meetings, got some work to do. I'm sure you do too. And
Yeah.
we will liaise. I don't know. Should we say, what are we doing Thursday?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I don't think there's much happening on Thursday. So maybe then.
Yes, Thursday sounds good. But we did say that we were going to keep this to 30 minutes. We've been closer to an hour. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we can like fit in on Thursday, and have
Okay,
another
cool.
like nice impromptu chat. And until next time, take care.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. Ciao.
Thanks for listening. Bye.